This is how we ride. This is how we do.
You know what the crazy thing about racing is? Everybody forgets about kind of how it's gone over the years, and they call me the man. You're such a great points racer. You're this. You're that. They don't rewind back to the early 2000s all the way till maybe 4 years ago. So for 20 years, I was the guy that was fourth in points, and I was the guy that was third in points, and I was also the guy that was tearing the deck out every night at the end of the night. So, like I was telling my owner Donald today, I said, we can be unhappy about this, or we could say, if you look at if you're going up to a blackjack table and you're going to lay your money on the line, the odds were better for my entire career to have this format versus what has happened the last 2 years. And the beauty of this new format is you can't just say, well, you got $150,000 at the banquet this year and they're hurting you. Well, last year I got 75, and in the years before that, Josh Richards got 75, Jimmy Owens got 75, and we can go down the list. We hadn't really, our point fund was great, but it wasn't where it is last year or this year after I got paid this winter. So if somebody walks up to you and says, here's the deal, we can pay $100,000 for fourth, we can pay, I think it's 50 for seventh or eighth, and $30,000 to just be a part of the show. I don't know how, if you put 12 of us in a room, how we don't try to look out for each other a little bit and make it better for everybody. I can't say that maybe I felt that way 20 years ago when I got into this, but man, I've seen it all. And do I agree with the format? It's not the perfect format, but at the end of the day, we're all going to make some more money. And man, I don't know what I would say to somebody that works all week long at a business and say to them, like, here's the deal. We can give four of you more money, but we'll flip a coin, but you're all going to make double or more, triple more than you've ever made in this week. And the worst you're going to make is still way more than you normally make. Or just say, hey, we're not going to change a thing, but we might have to cut. So I don't ever want to cut. And if it builds us up, then that's just part of the deal, man. I've told a lot of people. I went to, like, Tazewell Speedway is a perfect example. It's a very high intensity racetrack. Personally, for me, it's not one of my favorite places. I believe it's a little dangerous, but at the end of the day, if they're going to pay $20,000 to win like they were, I had no problem going back there. When they were paying 10 or 5, I was like, I don't know about going to that place. But once they started upping the money, and you just know what you're, what it's worth to you to take a chance. And I mean, for this kind of money, man, what do you do? Say no? Because the answer is, if we all said no, thered be no money. So I guess I don't know what the big issue is.
At the beginning at the beginning of your explanation there, you mentioned how I guess your car owner didn't like it, or somebody in the crew didn't like it. Who? No. We just said that we understand it. If you look at just the last 2 years, we've won the points this way. But if you look at the last, I think since I've been on the Lucas Tour, you can look at it and say, hey, I'd have a shot at winning this thing at a final race every year. So, I mean, the way I look at this is, here's what I know for a fact. The money would not be there. Like, this point fund wouldn't have upwards of $400,000 added to it if this format wasn't what whoever sponsored. I don't know the inner workings of who sponsored everything. I just know that the money would not come into this division in this point fund if this format wasn't what they were going to do. So it's kind of like, what do? Do you just say, no, we don't want to do it, and then $500,000 doesn't get added to the point fund? I mean, hopefully, like, if things bottom out this year and it's a bad deal, then we'll readjust. Like, we'll say, hey, man, it didn't work, but you got to get the money through the door with the people that want to be a part of this. Sometimes it's not perfect, man. Sometimes it's bloody. Sometimes it sucks, but get the money in the door and get these people behind us, and then we can make it better down the road, if at all possible. Well, are you going to basically now, I mean, I'm not going to say you're a shoe-in to be one of the top four at the end of a full season championship run in this format, but now you basically have to build the best Eldora Speedway package that you can find if you want to be champion next year. I mean, that's it, and I look, when it first came out, I kind of was on the side of liking it. It's something new. For a fact, that race at Eldora, and it's insane how the Dirt Track World Championship that has been a race has now moved to Eldora, and now a Dirt Track World Championship will technically be that day at that racing event a world championship, a Lucas Oil world champ. So that kind of scenario that they've built is amazing. And it's going to, I don't care what anyone says. I've talked to a lot of people in the industry. They hate it. They're this, they're critical. They're not going to get the attention they think they will. They will. It's going to be something that's never been seen before. But the argument to it is, it was unfortunately related to NASCAR's chase, which it's not. It's more so a season-long kind of program to, I think, combat guys wanting to fall off, giving those mid-pack guys who are staying committed on a tour all year long some extra money to get down the road. I think that's who it really benefits until you get to that last month. But it does take away from a season champion that people miss in NASCAR per se, or just other racing leagues, where it's a season-long performance. Your grit, your grind, your reason to get back out on the track is for every point. That would be the argument to it. That would be the traditionalist way.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I don't disagree with anything that you said. I just know that, like, if you want to talk about excitement, like, I lived it. I lived 2017, where I was the point leader going into Portsmouth. Josh Richards was 48 points behind. I believe Scott Bloomquist was 70 or 60. There was three of us that basically, like, I had to run fourth if Josh Richards won to be able to beat him for this point title. And you want to talk about getting some publicity and also turn it into a great thing. Not for me. I mean, I lost this title. I had 2 flat tires, and I come from last all the way up to fourth after the first flat, and was maybe had a shot at winning this thing, and then had another flat. And I don't want to relive that. I mean, I want to be on the other side. But at the end of the day, I know what it did for us as a points deal. And granted, that was over the long haul, regular point fund, all that stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. I have mixed feelings, because I know that, like, obviously I've learned to run 7th and 5th and 6th and take a car that maybe is a mid-pack car and squeeze some more out of the juice. And I know that we got to concentrate on Eldora, and that matters. I really don't know what to say. I mean, I hope that the fans, when we get there, they think it's exciting. I just know that, like, what people don't understand in life is that no matter how much we want to always say, we're going to do it for the greater good of everything in the world, we all have to live at the end of the year. And this is going to enable, like you said it best, more race teams that say, hey, I'm 6th in points, and you know what, I might drop off. Like a Mike Marlar or whoever you want to name that doesn't usually follow a tour, but he might just say, hey, I got a chance at this, so I'm going to stick it out, and it makes the tour better. Well, I'm just about getting us more money and trying to make it better for everybody. I don't know if it's the right answer, but we'll see. It'll prove its way out.
Well, and I think at the same time people are missing how there's some stretches where you run poor, you'll have a slump, and if you get in between that 1 month there in June and a guy who's you're used to being that top 4, top number 1 guy, somebody who's 8th and barely makes that cut for that month, if you have a bad slump month and another guy does and he runs well, he may make that 4, and you may be out just over that 1 month performance, that 4-week slump.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the beauty of the only good thing, I guess, besides like losing this title would be there is other point funds that are mixed in that are paying the $15,000 for the TV championship and the $15,000 for the crown jewels. There's some other things. So basically, if you had the year that I had this year, and then you were to run 4th in points at Eldora or whatever at the end of the thing, I'd still make upwards of what I made this year.
Where would you have been going? 180. Where would you have been in the points going into Eldora? I guess you've already done the math on that for this year. If it was the same.
Well, we would have been sitting in the same spot. What would have happened is that if, say, you go into Eldora, no matter what, nothing changes. I go into Eldora and I run 4th. Like, I finished 4th out of the guys that are doing this. So that's $100,000. Well, I still have clinched $30,000 for all these point funds, plus all these extra things I got at the banquet. and so I'd be upwards of 150. I'd be taking a $30,000 or $20,000 pay cut from where I was this year to do this. But like the kicker is at the end of the day, listen, it's a pressure situation. It's not easy, and it's not probably perfect. And I don't always agree with the chase format in NASCAR. But I'll tell you this, from a fan perspective on my own self, this is all I can do is judge myself. I have watched less than 20 NASCAR races in the last probably 6 or 7 years.
Now, when you say watch, you mean you ain't seen the end of any of it, looked at it, or you
No, I might listen. Once they started doing some things, and now I'm an older guy. Once they started changing when they wanted to have the races, one's at 4:00, the other one's at 2 in the afternoon.
Right.
When it was a 1:00 start, like a normal thing, just like football or anything you're used to doing,
consistency.
You just did it. Like Formula One races are normally 7 in the morning to 9 in the morning, depending, as long as they're on over in Europe. And I'll watch all of those just because it's the same thing I've done since I was a 9-year-old kid. So like I have watched though, like to get back to NASCAR, I have watched probably two nationwide, both times when the last, not when they were at a Homestead and our guy, our dirt guy won both of them. I watched both of those. When Reddick won, and I watched the last 3 Cup ones, just because it is kind of exciting. Now, maybe we're not Cup, but it is kind of neat to go into that last race and realize that a guy I really enjoy watching, like a Kevin Harvick, man, if he does his job that day and just, does what he does and he wins a title or Larson or whoever.
That's how that thing works. I mean, Flo is not stupid. I think Flo is very smart. Michael Rigsby's smart. They got involved with Lucas Oil here. They're kind of very involved, I would think, kind of an idea based on maybe something they came up with. Not saying they came up with it. I'm just saying the numbers out there in the world, all these people and companies see it, and they see on that final NASCAR race every year, it's some of the biggest numbers of the year. Because they're looking at it. They're looking at it like, look how me and you may be a casual, not even watch a NASCAR race, but the final race where there's 4 guys and someone's going to win it, you pay attention to it. So
I'm telling you, you can't. Yeah, we have to try to reach like
the casual,
our level, our race level. Yes. We have to reach the guy. Listen, I live in a cul-de-sac with people that don't even know anything about racing.
Right, you're just a normal
But I'll tell you what, if they think you can win real money, if you tell them, hey, look I'm going to race this weekend for $200,000 if I win, and there's 4 other guys, we're head to head, they might turn it on. They might say, really? Let me turn that on and see what's going on. And whatever we got to do to broaden the deal. And I know it. Listen, I'm not going to tell you it's perfect. I might be the same guy 8 months from now thinking it's the worst thing ever. But I just know that the influx of money is so good, and it helps 12 race teams compared to me just being greedy because I just happen in the twilight of my career be able to run 6th all the time and just point them to death. I'm more about like, man, you know how cool it'd be? Like, imagine, I don't know the feeling, how JD felt when he won that $1 million race. Like, I got to the lead, and I'm telling you, man, when I got done, I was demoralized. I'm telling you, man, I was demoralized. Like, I literally, like, it's been a long time since I felt that bad. I have to go back to like playing high school sports where I felt that bad, where like I thought, man, you know what? It was there. The whole thing was there.
This is how we ride. This is how we do. Ride mud, slide